Hey there, Mrs. Pierce here again with another episode of using the 5D process to solve a word problem. So the 5D process is just a strategy. Fixing the 5D process with a chart like we had before makes it then really having a graphic organizer. So let's start. First, I'm going to read the problem. It says, Dawn is trying to find the dimensions of a parallelogram. She knows that the base is 1 unit less than twice the height. That seems like it's pretty important, so let's highlight that. The base is 1 unit less than twice the height. The area is 91 square units. That's pretty important as well. And ultimately, I need to know the base and the height. Well, let's start by drawing a parallelogram. Love how Notability makes that all nice and pretty for us. And then in a parallelogram, the height, so here's a little geometry review for you. The height is that perpendicular distance from the top and the bottom, and then your base would be the bottom. Other thing you might need to know is that the area of a parallelogram is base times height. That's how you find it. So I drew a picture. But I also need to go put some other information in there for my describe. It says that the base is 1 unit less than twice the height. So I'm going to say that my base here, it says 1 unit less, which means I'm going to be subtracting 1 from twice, so from 2 times the height. So there's my describe. So I'm looking down below. I really only have 2 things. I have a base and a height, so I don't need to separate this defined column at all. It's going to be big, but that's okay. But I do need to figure out what I should start with my guess. Well, you know, this is one of those problems. There's not necessarily something that shows up a lot because there's only one sentence that has some important information in it. But if I knew what the height was, I could do this math to figure out the base, okay? So it's comparing the base to whatever the height is. So that kind of gives me a good clue that I am going to start with my height as my guess. So I will guess the height, but then to get the base every time, I'm going to have to do 2 times the height and then subtract 1. So there's that relationship there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have to calculate the area. And to get area, I'm going to take my base times my height. And I need to decide if that area is equal to 91 square centimeters, or square units. All right, let's start guessing. So I know I'm multiplying. So when I'm multiplying 2 numbers to get 91, let's just start with 10. So what if my height was 10 units? If my height is 10 units, my base is going to have to be 2 times 10, which is 20, subtract 1. My base would have to have been 19. And so then 10 times 19 is actually 190. That's way too big. So let's go to 5. So if my height is 5, my base would be 2 times 5, which is 10, minus 1 is 9. And so then 5 times 9 is equal to 45. That is too low. So it's somewhere in between there, probably a little bit closer to 5. So let's go with 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 minus 1 is 13. So my base would be 13. And then I'm going to do 7 times 13. So in my head, 7 times 10 is 70. 7 times 3 is 21. Oh, I got it. That's 91. So I got it on my 3rd try. But let's go back up. The question says, how long are the base and the height? So I do need to say both answers. And for my declare, I'm going to write a sentence. The height is 7 units. It didn't give us any units, so we'll say units. And the base is 13 units. And I'm done.